Hey gaming fans! So today I have a deck that I just kind of was having some fun with. Basically I finally got my hands on the Mechanized Madness structure deck. It just came out pretty recent, and I thought, since this is like full of great cards, by the way. If you haven't seen this deck, you really need to look at it. There's so many good cards in there, and basically I bought it because of a lot of the good cards in there. But I thought it would be fun just to build a deck using 3 of these things. So like just grabbing 3 off the shelf and seeing what kind of deck I can put together. So I'm not adding any other cards that are not in this deck that don't come with it. So I just kind of put it together like this. I thought it'd be fun to share it off, see what you think, and just in case someone is new to the game or they just want to pick up 3 of these decks and just build one deck out of it, it's quite possible. Anyways, I'm gonna get to the profile. So for the first card, well, I'll just put that one back there. I decided to go with Machina Peacekeeper, just because it's a union, and if it is destroyed, like you can set it on your turn or whatever. If it gets destroyed, you get to add a union monster from your deck to your hand. Otherwise, you can equip it and protect one of your machines. There's also a spell card in here that helps you do that. I put 2 scrap recyclers because there's a lot of cards you just want to get into the graveyard in this deck. So just move that there. So it's an okay card. It's a good starting card. Just summon it. You could also, if it's special summoned, but you just summon it and then you just send a machine monster from your deck to your graveyard, which really comes in handy. I'm trying one Machina Soldier here. When this card is normal summoned, while you control no other monsters, you can special summon one Machina monster from your hand. And my thought process was, there is a card in here that if you have 2 machines out, you can draw 2 cards. So, starting off with him, and then you could special summon one of your Machina monsters, you'll have 2 right away, and then you could use that card. Then I put 2 of the Machina Possess Storage. I think that's how you say it. This is one of the newer ones that came out in the deck from the previous Machina deck that came out. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you could target one Machina monster in your graveyard, except himself, or a copy of himself, special summon it in defense mode. It cannot activate its effects this turn, which is fine. And then you can target one other Machina monster you control and one spell or trap your opponent controls, return them to the hand. So that could be useful, especially if you need to get rid of something that you're afraid of. But yeah, because there isn't really too much, outside of the Cyclones to get rid of spells and traps. Then we got probably the best one, the best normal summon, I would say, 3 Machina Gear Frame. I'd think everybody would always play 3 of these guys. They're your main searcher of the deck. They pretty much, you just summon them, they search out a Machina monster. Is it Machina or Mechana? I don't know. I've heard both ways being pronounced. I usually just say Machina. But anyways, yeah, 3 of the gear frames. And they're a union monster, which comes in handy. So if there's a spell card that actually summons this to the field as a union equip. So those are your normal summons of the deck, your first turn summons and all that. Get on to the special summons. So 3 of the Fortress. I love this card. I remember when this deck first came out, I used to play this deck a lot. And this card is annoying to get around. It's annoying to get rid of. It just keeps coming back, and if your opponent targets it and stuff, they kind of lose out. So it's really good. It's a really good card. I always like this card. And then I added 3 of the Air Raiders. Machina Air Raider. You could discard one of their Machina monsters, special summon this card from your hand. So I like how all these can kind of special summon themselves. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one machine monster you control, special summon from your deck one Machina monster with a different name and equal or lower level than the monster, and if you do, destroy the targeted monster. So it kind of allows you to search your deck for one of the stronger Machina monsters and stuff like that. Then I put in 2 of the Irradiators, I think it says, Machina Irradiators. Kind of a similar idea to this guy. He's you could discard one of their Machina monsters, special summon this card from your hand. You can target one machine monster you control, special summon it from your one from your graveyard with a different name. So it's similar to this guy, but it's from the graveyard. So I put 2 in there. He's also got 1700 attack. It's not too much, but you're going to use it for its effect. Also, when Machina Fortress is in the graveyard, you can discard any of these cards to special summon them back. So really cool. And then of course the last one is the boss monster of the deck. I just put in one. I don't know if anybody plays more than one. Maybe some builds would play 2, 3. But because you can't special summon himself from your hand, you cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by a card effect, which there's a lot of ways of doing that in this deck. And you can target one machine monster you control, destroy that monster, and all monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to it, so that's pretty cool. And if a face-up Earth machine monster you control, except this guy, is destroyed by battle or a card effect, when this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon him, and you can only activate his effect once per turn. So he's one of the guys you're going to want to get into the graveyard fast. Like, you could use your recyclers and stuff like that. You can search them out and just pitch them for special summoning your fortress, because you don't want them sitting in your hand. But you can also special summon them from the deck. There is ways of doing that. So on with the spells. I got some spells in here. The Machina Redeployment, which is the new card as well. This card's insane. It's basically reinforcements of the army on steroids that searches out machines or Machina monsters. So you activate one of these effects, you discard one card, which is fine. You usually want to discard cards in this deck, to add 2 Machina monsters with different names from each other from your deck to your hand. I mean, that's nuts. And the other effect is you could discard a Machina card, so any card that has Machina in its name, and you could add 2 Machina cards with different names from your hand to your deck, or from your deck to your hand, I should say. So that's really crazy. I mean, that just really fixes this deck to make sure that you always get what you need. Then a card I was talking about earlier, 3 Iron Draw. I mean, this is your pot of greed of the deck, pretty much. All you need is 2 machine monsters, which is not hard to do. It's almost like all the time you have 2 machine monsters. You just got to keep that in mind, though, because if you think you're going to be drawing this card, don't fill your board full of machines, because then you won't be able to activate it. You can only activate 1 per turn, so if you do draw 2 in your opening hands, you're going to want to make sure you keep your board free to be able to activate that. And 2 unauthorized reactivations. These are the ones that go for that union I was saying earlier. So you target 1 machine monster you control, equip 1 appropriate machine union monster from your hand or your deck to that monster. That union monster you equip cannot be special summoned this turn. You can only activate 1 per turn. But the great thing about this card is it's a quick play spell. So you can actually activate it on your opponent's end phase. Bring a union monster out, equip it to one of your machines, and then during your turn you can actually unequip it, and now you have 2 monsters, again, for Iron Draw. Another thing is, if your opponent's going to destroy one of your machines, you could activate this in a pinch, throw one of your union monsters on there, like your gear frame or the other union monster that's in the deck, and save it for 1 turn. And I just decided on 1 Iron Call. It's a good card. It's just that like, if you control a machine monster, you can target 1 level 4 or lower machine monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated and it's destroyed during the end phase. So you might be able to get some use out of it. I don't know. That's why I only put 1 in there. It negates the effects. It destroys it at the end of the turn. So you might use it. You might not. One good card that this deck actually does work well with, I guess, is Supply Squad. So I put the 3 in there because there's a lot of destruction in this deck. You're destroying machines all the time. Plus they can die by battle, so you get to draw cards. But Iron Call, if you summon the monster, we could attack with it, and then at the end of the turn it blows up. You get to draw 1 or 2 cards, depending on how many supply squads you get out on the field. And, you know, that just draws you more advantage. So actually pretty decent in this deck. And one of the good cards that actually came in this deck as well was the Cyclone, Cosmic Cyclones. Really cool card. It's just simple, pay 1,000 life points, target a spell or trap, and banish it. So it's definitely needed. And then for the last of the spells, I put in the 2 limiter removals. Again, more destruction for the supply squad, pulling off the effects of blowing up and then special summoning your big guy. And just boosting your machines to insane amounts of damage and just running over your opponent. So it's kind of a finisher card at that too. And that's the spells. And then for the traps, I put 3 of the best trap in the deck. This is another one of those cards that came with it. It has Machina in its name, so it's searchable. And then you target one machine monster you control, special summon one Machina monster with a different name from your hand or deck, so any one of your Machinas, and then you destroy the card you targeted, which is also another thing for your supply squad to draw a card. And then it's got an extra effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target three of your machine monsters that were banished and or in the graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck and draw one card. You can only use this effect once per turn. So you know that secondary effect could come in handy, especially if you just need to get to that draw, or for whatever reason you need to shuffle one back into your deck. And then the last is the Solemn Strikes. Another great card. I mean, all the Solemn cards are pretty much, you know, good cards. So this is cool, and this is why I like this deck, that, you know, it came with Solemn Strike. You know, that this is a good card. So it's always a good card in a lot of other decks as well. In fact, most of the deck is good, has a lot of great cards that you could use in other decks. And yeah, so that was the deck that I put together, and only because I wanted to just focus on the cards that came in this deck. I didn't want to add anything new to it. I mean, obviously you can. There's no reason why you can't. This was just fun for me. And so I left out a lot of good cards that did come in the deck. Some of them had to do with synchroing and stuff like that, which this deck didn't come with any extra deck cards. So they give you all these synchro stuff, but there's no extra deck cards, so you have to put your own in there. But anyways, yeah, this was just fun, and it, you know, it's for people who just decided to pick this deck up and want to have fun with it. Anyways, hope you like the build. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Maybe give it a try yourself. I mean, it's always fun to do that with any of the structure decks. Buy 3 of them and try and build a really good deck out of it. But anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.